In my last analysis, we examined how the United States Senate set up a panel to review the legal process in the Nnamdi Kanu case. Today, we are looking at what appears to be one of the first major domestic consequences of that growing pressure. Something just happened in Nigeria's judiciary that cannot be ignored. The judge most closely linked to the Nnamdi Kanu case has now been removed. Officially, it's administrative. Politically, the timing raises serious questions. And if you understand power, you'll know this is not random. This is not noise. This is not rumor. This is a serious political development, where power, pressure, and accountability intersect. If you care about Nigeria, if you care about justice, and if you have been following the Nnamdi Kanu case closely, then you need to listen carefully, and you need to stay till the end. In the past few days, a quiet but highly significant development has taken place within Nigeria's judicial and political space. Justice James Omotosho, a name that became closely associated with the prolonged legal process surrounding Nnamdi Kanu, has now been removed from office. The timing of this decision, and the circumstances surrounding it, have raised serious questions across legal, political, and public circles. While official explanations remain limited and carefully worded, public debate is growing louder. And many Nigerians, both at home and in the diaspora, are asking the same question: why now? Before we go deeper, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss important updates. This channel breaks news with sense, not emotion. We analyze power, not propaganda. Now, let's begin. The Nnamdi Kanu case has never been an ordinary legal matter. From the moment his name re-entered Nigeria's judicial system, it became clear that this was not just a courtroom issue, but a national and international political flashpoint. Legal proceedings that might ordinarily move quietly through the courts instead unfolded under intense public scrutiny, sustained diaspora pressure, and growing international attention. Every adjournment, every delay, and every procedural decision became a subject of public debate, online analysis, and political interpretation. Over time, Justice James Omotosho's courtroom became the focal point of this process. Whether fairly or unfairly, he became the most visible judicial figure connected to Nnamdi Kanu's continued detention. And slowly, public frustration that should have been directed at institutions and systems began to narrow onto an individual. This is where context becomes critical. Nigeria's judiciary does not operate in isolation. It exists within a complex political and security environment, especially in cases involving national unity, separatist movements, and international scrutiny. Judges are bound by law, precedent, and procedure, yet they operate under intense public expectation, political pressure, and security considerations. In such cases, judicial decisions are rarely viewed purely as legal outcomes. They are interpreted as political signals. As the Kanu case dragged on, delays became increasingly difficult to explain to the public. Court adjournments, procedural complications, and prolonged detention without resolution fed a growing perception that something was fundamentally wrong. Whether those delays were legally justified or not, perception hardened. And in politics, perception often becomes reality. Then the case entered a new phase. International attention intensified. Diaspora advocacy became more organized and more vocal. Statements from foreign lawmakers, human rights groups, and international observers began circulating more widely. Allegations of foreign pressure, diplomatic interest, and geopolitical concern became part of the public conversation. At that point, the Nnamdi Kanu case was no longer just Nigerian, it had become global. It is within this charged atmosphere that Justice James Omotosho was removed from office. Officially, no direct link has been established between his removal and the Kanu case. No court has found him guilty of misconduct related to the trial. And it is important to state this clearly to avoid misinformation. However, politics is not shaped only by official statements. It is shaped by timing, symbolism, and public interpretation. The removal came at a moment when pressure surrounding the Kanu case had reached one of its highest points. Public frustration was peaking. International narratives were intensifying. And the Nigerian government was navigating a delicate balance between asserting judicial authority, maintaining domestic stability, and protecting its international image. In such moments, Institutions often face a strategic choice. Do they confront public anger directly, or do they attempt to redirect it? Some political analysts argue that in highly sensitive situations, systems sometimes protect themselves by allowing one visible figure to absorb public blame. This does not automatically imply wrongdoing by that individual. Rather, it reflects political calculation, not legal judgment. This is the argument now circulating in public discourse, that Justice Omotosho became the face of delay, and that his removal served as a form of political damage control, intended to lower tension, reset the narrative, and buy time. It must be emphasized again, this remains interpretation, not established fact. But it is interpretation grounded in political history, not speculation. Nigeria has seen similar patterns before. Across different administrations and sectors, moments of intense public pressure have often been followed by quiet removals, reassignments, or administrative reshuffles. The message is rarely explicit, but it is often understood. For supporters of Nnamdi Kanu, the removal of Justice Omotosho has been interpreted as validation. Many see it as confirmation that sustained pressure, both domestic and international, is beginning to produce visible consequences. For legal professionals and institutional observers, however, the situation raises deeper and more troubling questions. If judges can be removed during highly politicized cases, what does this mean for judicial independence? Does public pressure now influence judicial careers? And what precedent does this set for future sensitive cases? These are uncomfortable questions, but they are necessary ones. For the Nigerian government, the challenge remains unresolved. Removing a judge may ease immediate pressure, but it does not resolve the central issue, the unresolved status of the Nnamdi Kanu case itself. What happens next is critical. Does this development accelerate legal proceedings? Does it open space for a political or diplomatic solution? Or does it simply change personnel while maintaining the same outcome? Justice Omotosho's removal does not end this story. In many ways, it intensifies it. Because this is no longer just about one judge or one defendant. It is about how Nigeria manages justice under pressure, both domestic and international. And how this moment is handled will shape public confidence in the legal system going forward. For ordinary Nigerians, the concern is simple. Does this bring the country closer to resolution, or does it deepen uncertainty? Will this moment lead to transparency and closure, or will it simply create another layer of silence? As observers, it is important to remain careful. Jumping to conclusions helps no one. But ignoring patterns helps no one either. Political analysis exists in the space between official statements and public reality, and right now, that space is filled with unanswered questions. One thing is clear. The Nnamdi Kanu case has entered a new phase. And Justice James Omotosho's removal is not an isolated event. It is part of a broader moment where law, politics, and pressure are colliding. How Nigeria navigates this moment will shape not only the outcome of this case, but public trust in its institutions for years to come.